What if we could rewrite the book of life? I'm serious. What if you could fix a typo in your own DNA, just like you'd fix a typo in an email? Well, today we're diving into CRISPR, a revolutionary technology that's making this possible. And we're going to look at the massive investment opportunities it's kicking up. So let's just start with that big question, right? Because this isn't some idea from a sci-fi movie anymore. This is the exact question that scientists, doctors, and investors are tackling as we speak. The power to edit the code of life is here. And honestly, it's about to change, well, pretty much everything.
Okay, but before we can get into editing the code, we really need to get our heads around what that code even is. So let's start at square one, our biological source code.
Here's a great way to think about it. Your DNA is basically the operating system for your body. It's this unbelievably complex software that's telling your body how to grow, how to work, how to fight off sickness. It is, without a doubt, the most sophisticated program on the planet. And it's running inside every single one of us right now.
But, what happens when there's a bug in that code? A single typo in the billions of letters that make up our DNA can have totally devastating effects. It's almost like a single misplaced comma in a huge computer program that just causes the entire system to crash. And look, these are not just words on a screen. These are diseases that impact millions of families all over the world. They cause an incredible amount of suffering, they shorten lives, and all of them are caused by one tiny little mistake in our DNA. So what if we could finally fix that typo? What if we could just go in, rewrite the code, and cure these diseases for good? For decades, this was the dream, right? Scientists have been dreaming of a way to go in and surgically fix these genetic mistakes. And now, that dream is actually becoming a reality. This is where CRISPR comes in, a technology that is completely changing the game for gene editing. So, what exactly is CRISPR? Well, the easiest way to picture it is as a pair of molecular scissors. It's a tool that lets scientists find, cut, and even paste DNA with incredible pinpoint precision. And the amazing part? We didn't even invent it from scratch. We found it in bacteria, which have been using this very system to defend themselves from viruses for millions of years. This find and replace idea is just the perfect analogy. But instead of fixing a spelling mistake in a document, we're talking about fixing a broken gene right inside our DNA. We're replacing the bug with a healthy piece of code. We are, quite literally, rewriting the book of life to cure diseases. It's incredible. So how do these molecular scissors actually pull it off? It's a beautifully simple three-step process. First, scientists program what they call a guide molecule to hunt for one specific sequence of DNA. You can think of it like a GPS for our genes. Second, that guide leads an enzyme called Cas9. Those are the scissors to the exact spot, and snip, it cuts the DNA. And third, the cell's own natural repair kit rushes in to fix the break, and that gives scientists the perfect opportunity to either delete the bad code or paste in a new, correct version. And this right here is why CRISPR is such a game changer. Before CRISPR came along, trying to edit genes was, well, it was like trying to do surgery with a sledgehammer. It was clumsy, super expensive, and honestly, it often created more problems than it solved. But now, with CRISPR, we can edit our own genetic code with the precision of a surgeon's scalpel. It is just so much faster, cheaper, and more accurate than anything we've ever had before. Now, when you have a breakthrough this huge, it doesn't just stay locked up in a lab. No way. It creates a ripple effect that touches every part of our world, from the food we eat to the medicines we rely on. And that's what we're going to get into next, the massive biotech revolution that CRISPR has kicked off. And we're not just talking about a couple of new companies. We are watching the birth of a multi-billion-dollar industry that is growing at a mind-boggling pace. Companies like CRISPR Therapeutics, Intellia, and Editas, they're all in a race to develop new therapies for everything from cancer to blindness. And you can bet investors are pouring money into this space because they're betting that this is going to be one of the most important technologies of our lifetime. And just to give you a sense of the scale we're talking about here, the global market for CRISPR tech is projected to hit $25 billion by 2030. That's more than the entire economy of some countries. It's a huge sign that the world is betting big on CRISPR. So, where's all this money and research actually going? Well, the biggest slice of the pie, that first bar, is going toward new therapies and cures for genetic diseases, which makes sense. But check out the other areas. CRISPR is also being used to create crops that are tougher against drought and disease, which could help tackle food shortages. And it's creating new diagnostic tools that can spot diseases like cancer way, way earlier than we can now. The applications are just incredibly broad. Curing diseases, ending hunger. I mean, the promise of CRISPR is almost hard to imagine. But with any powerful tool, there's always another side of the story. And that brings us to our final and maybe most important part of this conversation, the promise and the peril of our genetic future. And this is where things get really, really complicated. On one hand, we have the potential to cure diseases that have plagued humanity for all of history. But on the other hand, there's the risk of off-target effects. That's when the molecular scissors accidentally cut the wrong piece of DNA and we don't know what might happen. We could create a world without hunger, but that opens the door to the ethical maze of designer babies. Where do we draw that line, and who gets to decide which human traits are good and which are flaws that should be edited out? These are the enormous questions that we as a society have to figure out now. The age of genetic engineering isn't on the horizon anymore. It is here, right now. We have the power to rewrite the code of life itself. And so the biggest question isn't about the science anymore. The question is, what are we going to write? Are we going to use this power to create a healthier, better world? Or will we accidentally unleash a whole new set of problems we can't even imagine yet? The tool is in our hands. The choice is ours.